The biggest problem VBA users have is code overload. Simple data tasks take a mountain of code. After 10 years of writing VBA for Excel, I've constantly looked for ways to streamline and optimize my workflow. And when it comes to data manipulation, Python is light years ahead of VBA. In this video, I'm going to show you the 5 most common VBA data tasks and why switching to Python will save you a huge amount of time and unnecessary code. Keep watching until the end because every task I cover is a core part of Excel automation, and mastering them will massively improve your skill set. If you want to try this code for yourself, you can download the examples using the link in the description below. Okay, let's jump in. As VBA programmers, we often deal with data organized in rows and columns, just like what you see on this spreadsheet. Imagine that you wanted to select some rows, and then from those rows, you wanted to select data from the columns city, sales rep, and target revenue. And then finally, you wanted to place all that data in a nice, neat array. For such a mundane task, you'd think that VBA would offer a simple solution. But unfortunately, it doesn't. We have to create our own solution. Now, if the rows and columns are sequential, then we can retrieve them using this code. And this is fine as long as your data is in a range and is sequential. But what if your data is already in an array, and what if the rows and columns are not adjacent? Well, then you need to create a custom function like this. It's designed to retrieve given rows and columns and return them neatly to an array. So let's check it out. The name iloc stands for integer location after the Python function we will be using in a moment. So it works like this. We pass it 3 arguments, a list of rows that you want to retrieve, a list of columns that you want to retrieve, and the 2-dimensional array containing your data. So we begin by creating and dimensioning the destination array. We then use nested loops to iterate through every specified row and column position, pulling the data and filling our new array. And once done, the function simply returns the array with all our new data. Let's use this function to see it in action. So we use the VBA built-in array function to create the array of rows we wish to retrieve. We then do the same for columns, and the final parameter is our data. To view the results, I've created this print array function which dumps the array's contents to the immediate window. And when we run the code, you can see that it returns the rows and columns that we specified. If we want to handle a sequence of rows, then we can create a custom getSequence function that returns a sequence of numbers. And we use it by replacing the array function with the getSequence function in our call to iloc. When we run it, you can see that it gave us data from rows 4, 5 and 6. Now, counting the lines of code, our core iloc function took 21 lines of code excluding comments. The getSequence helper function added another 9 lines. And one crucial feature we haven't implemented yet is the simple ability to select all the rows or select all the columns. And that would require about 20 more lines of code based on a basic version that I drafted. So all said and done, you're looking at nearly 50 lines of custom VBA code just to get the basic flexible data selection. So let's see what this task looks like in Python. To access Python's data capabilities, our very first step is to import the pandas library. We then use the pandas function readExcel to read the data from the Excel file into a data frame. Now, if you haven't come across data frames before, just think of them as 2-dimensional arrays in memory. Once we have the data in a data frame, we can then use the pandas iloc function to retrieve the rows and columns which we want. In this example, we get data from the rows 2 and 6 and from the columns 5 and 8. Note that in a data frame, the rows and column positions start at 0 rather than 1. iloc is incredibly useful. With just 1 line of code, you get 4 powerful ways to select data. We can select a single row or column using a single integer. We can select multiple rows or columns using a list. And a Python list is equivalent to a 1-dimensional array in VBA. We can select all rows or columns by using a colon as a wildcard. And finally, we can select adjacent rows or columns by placing a number at either side of the colon, and this number represents the starting position and the position that we stopped before. If you like iLock, then you love lock. It lets you retrieve rows and columns by name. So for example, we can easily retrieve the product and revenue data for all the rows like this. If we wanted to select the rows that start with Q3 East all the way down to the rows that start with Q2 South, then we first of all set the region column to be the index column in the read Excel function call. And then we can use this code to get our data. And here you can see the result. So in just one line of Python, we can do something that requires a ton of VBA code. Now the next task we're going to look at is even more powerful because it solves one of VBA's biggest headaches: filtering data. Filtering data is something you do all the time in Excel, but in VBA it's surprisingly complicated. VBA gives us two main filtering tools. One is fast but has limited scope. The other is more flexible but requires enough code to fill a small book. So let me show you the first method so you can see why filtering using VBA is so problematic. If you're doing a one-off filter and copy, Advanced Filter has some pretty compelling advantages. It's fast, it uses very little code, and it can handle complex filter conditions. So it works like this. It requires 3 ranges. The first range is the data that you want to filter. The second range is where you specify the criteria of your filter. And the final range then is the output range, and this is where the results will be placed. So in the code, we first of all assign these 3 ranges, and we then call the advanced filter function of the data range, and we pass the other 2 ranges as parameters to this function. And that's it. The code is short and pretty much always the same, which is really efficient. But Advanced Filter does have some serious limitations. It cannot append data, it doesn't work with arrays, and it doesn't allow you to modify column data. And that means it's not suitable for a lot of common VBA tasks. Now the second VBA method is to loop through an array and filter the data manually using if statements. Now this method is much more flexible. You can transform columns, reorder them, reshape the data, and basically anything you want, but the trade-off is the code. Even a simple filter like this takes around 16 lines, and it comes with a major problem. We have to create an output array without knowing the size of the filtered results. So we usually set it to the same size as the original array, and this is really inefficient, especially when the dataset is large. And if you want to remove or reorder columns, then you have to fill each one individually, which can explode the amount of code you need to write. There are 2 main ways to filter data using pandas: Boolean indexing, which is faster, and using the query function, which is easier to read. Either way, it all happens in one line of code. Here we filter by the country Australia. We can also filter for multiple countries like this. If we want, we can use a variable in our query. We can also filter by numeric values. And we can combine conditions using AND as well as OR. These examples show just how much Python can do in a single line. No loops or complexity required. Filtering is easy in Python, but what about combining multiple files? Can that really be done in a single line of Python code? Well, let's find out. Imagine you have 3 Excel files with related data and you just want to combine them into one. Here's how we do it with VBA. First, we use the dir function to retrieve every file in the folder. We then create a while loop to process each file. For each file, we have to open it, find the data range while skipping the header, calculate the next empty row in the output file, and then paste the data in the right place. And when we've got that done, we close the workbook and ask dir for the next file. This works, it's robust, but even for combining just 3 simple files, we've already written around 16 lines of VBA code. Now here's the Python version. We start by using the path object. This gives us access to all the Excel files we want to read. Concat takes a list of files as its first parameter, and concat expects a list of data frames. So in Python, we create that list using a simple loop right inside the brackets. Concat returns a data frame, and from there we can write it straight out to Excel. And that gives us our final combined file. Now you might be thinking, didn't the video title say something about one line of Python? So for readability, I wrote it out step by step. But yes, these 3 lines can be merged into one. So instead of storing the path object in a variable, we can place it directly inside the list comprehension. And because concat gives us a data frame, we can call to Excel on the result immediately. And that leaves us with a single line. Now it's a long line, so we can use a backslash to split it across 2 lines in the editor. But it still runs as one code statement. While combining files in VBA isn't too difficult, the next task we're looking at requires much more complex code. One core thing we often do with data is summarize it by category. So for example, here we might want to get the total for each fruit. In VBA, the most efficient way to do this is surprisingly complicated. I've done a lot of work in this area, and the fastest method I've found uses a dictionary and an array. Each time we read a new item, we add it to the dictionary as a key and store the next available row index as its value. We then write that item's data into the row of the array. Now, as we continue through the dataset, if we encounter an item that's already in the dictionary, we use its stored row index to look up the correct row in the array and then simply add the new values to the existing totals. The advantage of this method is that when we're done, we have clean summarized data in an array, which we can then write directly to the worksheet, and this is very fast. Now the downside is that the code is complex, especially if you're not familiar with data structures, and it requires a lot of changes if the data requirements change. Now all in all, it takes about 40 lines of code. Now let's see how much easier this is in Python. As usual, we start by pulling the data from the worksheet into a data frame. And once it's in a data frame, then grouping the data is very easy. In this example, we want to group everything by fruit, and we want 2 values for each fruit, the average volume and the total sales. So here's what we do. We call group by fruit, and then we apply the aggregate function that runs mean on the volume field and sum on the sales field. And that's it. One clean line of code, and boom, your data is perfectly grouped and summarized. Alright, so we've just summarized our data with a simple group by. Very quick and clean. But what happens when you've got related data and you want to pull it all together? In VBA, this can be, let's just say, character building. But in Python, you've guessed it, it just takes one line of code. Here we have 2 tables, one with project data and one with employee data. The project data includes an employee ID, and we want to join these tables so we end up with one dataset that includes the project details plus the employee's first and last name. Now in VBA, this means loading all the employee data into a dictionary, using a class module to hold each employee, and then building the final table in an array by matching the project's employee ID to the dictionary. Now this is a lot of moving parts, and I've broken it into modules for clarity, but it still ends up being about 50 lines of code, and is probably the most complex example we've seen so far. Now here's how we do the same thing in Python in just one line. The first thing we do is to read in our project and employee worksheets. In this case, df is a dictionary of data frames. So df project gives us the project data frame, and df employee gives us the employee data frame. And we're going to join these 2 data frames using the employee ID. To do this, we use the pandas merge function. The first 2 parameters are the tables we wish to join. The on parameter is the common field used to join. That is the employee ID in this case. And inner means we only include rows where the employee ID exists in both data frames. When we run the code, you can see that the data is combined exactly how we wanted it. Now, as a bonus, if you want a report to show specific columns in a given order, we can use the lock function from the previous task to rearrange them easily. If you're impressed by Python and want to try it for yourself, check out this next video. It is everything VBA users need to get started.